Let's go ahead and practice some application questions dealing with algebraic and numerical expressions together. So there are only going to be two questions here, so questions 1 and 2 for two different scenarios, but they're going to have multiple parts to them. So we're going to have these algebraic and numerical expressions. We're going to go ahead and represent some scenarios using these types of expressions, and we're going to go ahead and show some detailed and logical work to demonstrate what our thought process is to thinking these problems through. So for this first scenario, Abigail has a pet sitting business. The table shows how much Abigail charges. The variable D is going to represent the number of days, and the variable H is going to represent the number of hours. All right, so let's see what we have for this first scenario here. In part A, it says last week Abigail sat 1 dog and 2 cats. Abigail spent 8 hours sitting the dog and 3 days sitting the cats. Write an algebraic expression that shows how much Abigail earned last week. So let's see, first we want to see how much Abigail makes from sitting the dog. So it's only 1 dog. So if we go to 1 dog here, and it says the dog is going to be it's going to be per hour. So we have to go to the per hour. So we're looking at $7 per hour. So that's going to be 7H. That's how much Abigail is going to make from sitting the dog. Plus she's going to be making more money sitting the cats, right? So it's going to be 3 days sitting the cats. So the cats is going to be the same price no matter what. And the per day price is going to be $15 per day. And we actually know it's going to be 3 of those days. So it's going to be $15 per day, but we know it's going to be 3 days. So this right here would be an algebraic expression because we have a variable here. We don't know how many hours. We can actually go ahead and simplify this thing though and say we don't know what the H is. It's going to be 7 times whatever that is. But we do know Abigail's going to make $45 from the cats because 15 times 3, we know it's going to be 45. So I'm going to say that these would be our expressions here. And it's algebraic because we have the variable H. If we knew the value of H, or how many hours that Abigail sits the dogs, we would find out the total that Abigail makes. All right, so let's look at part B because it kind of is a follow-up question here. In part B, it says evaluate the expression. This just means solve, right? What if Abigail sat the dogs for 2 hours? So when they say this is going to be 2 hours, really we're saying is let's take this 2 and substitute it in over here, right, to figure out the total that Abigail would make. So let's take this 7 and let's multiply it by this 2 that we kind of see over here. I'm going to highlight this 2 and just substitute it in parentheses here. And then we're going to just add on the 45. So of course, Abigail is going to make 7 times 2. That's going to be $14 from sitting the dogs, plus the $45 that Abigail makes from the cats. And in total, this is going to be what, 50, I think this is going to be $59 here, right? So that's the total that Abigail is going to make. And so while you could write a sentence, I'm just going to go ahead and say for now that Abigail would make $59. That would be our answer. All right, let's take a look at part C. For part C, it says this week Abigail sits 2 dogs and 1 cat. Suppose Abigail spent D days sitting the dogs and H hours sitting the cat. Write an algebraic expression that shows how much Abigail earns. So let's see, 2 dogs. Let's see, 2 dogs, and it's for the number of days. So dogs and days. Let's look at our chart here. So let's see, what did we say it was? It was 2 dogs and days. So 2 dogs is over here, and we're looking at days. So it's $25 for each of those days. So let's go ahead and say we know that Abigail is going to make $25 per day. We don't know how many days yet, so it's going to be $25 per day, plus she's going to make, let's see, it's going to be 1 cat, even though the cats, it doesn't matter how many there are, but for the cat, it's going to be hours. So let's look at the chart here. So for the cats, that's over here, and for the hours, that's over here. So we're looking at $6 per hour for the cat. So let's go ahead and write $6 per hour, right? We don't know the number of days and we don't know the number of hours, so this expression is as far as we can go. If we knew the value of D or H, we could find out how much Abigail makes now, right? But let's just go ahead and see if there's going to be a follow-up question about that. All right, surprise, surprise. In part D, it says evaluate the expression you wrote to find out how much Abigail earns if they sat 3 days of the sitting with the dogs and then 7 hours with the cat. So let's go ahead and take our expression here. It's going to be, let's see, this is going to be 3 days and it's going to be 7 hours. So we know here that the D value is going to be 3. Let's go ahead and use our expression from earlier. It's going to be 25 times and then D, which we said D is going to be 3 days, plus it's going to be $6 per hour. And how many hours is Abigail going to be with the cat? It's going to be 7 of those hours. Okay, so let's go ahead and just evaluate this. So 25 times 3, that's going to be $75 from the dogs, plus we have 6 multiplied by 7. And then how much is Abigail making from the cat? Well, 6 times 7 is going to be 42, so it's $75 plus the $42. We're looking at a total of, I think that's going to be 117. So we know that in total in this scenario, Abigail would make $117. That would be our answer. All right, in part E, it says next week Abigail plans to sit 1 dog and 1 cat. Suppose Abigail spends H hours. So for the dog, it's going to be H hours, and then it's going to be for the cat, it's going to be D days. So let's go ahead and write an algebraic expression to show how much Abigail would earn here. So let's see, H hours with the dog. So let's go to, is it 1 dog? I think it's 1 dog, yeah. So 1 dog, and we're talking about hours. So that's over here. So that's going to be $7 per hour. So let's go ahead and write, it's going to be, the expression is going to be $7 per hour. That's with the dog, right? And then it's going to be D days with the cats. So let's see, she's going to make some more money with the cats. That's going to be D days with the cats. So the cats, it doesn't matter how many. So here are the cats. And then it's going to be the days. So that's going to be $15 per day. So let's go ahead and say it's going to be plus 15D. All right. So this would be the expression that would tell us how much Abigail would make in total in this scenario for next week, right? All right, so in part F, let's go ahead and use the expression we just wrote to find out how much Abigail will earn next week if they sat 9 hours with the dog and then 3 days with the cat. So let's see, let's go ahead and substitute in here. So it's going to be $7 per each of the hours, and it looks like it's going to be 9 hours next week. And then for the cats, it's going to be $15 per each of the days, and there's going to be 3 days. All right, so let's go ahead and just evaluate this using the order of operations. All right, so from the dog, let's see, 7 times 9, that's going to be total of $63 made from working with the dog here, plus 15 times the 3. Now it turns out 15 times 3 is going to be 45. So after making 63 bucks, they're also going to make $45 from the cat, and then 63 plus 45 is going to be a total of, I think, 108. So in this scenario next week, Abigail would make a total of $108. All right, let's check out a second scenario here. So in number 2, the table shows how much an ice cream shop charges for its ice cream. Let's see, we got some variables here. So A is going to represent the number of small cups, B is going to represent the number of medium cups, and C is going to represent the number of large cups. Let D also going to represent the number of small toppings, E is going to represent the number of medium toppings, and then F is going to represent the number of large toppings. All right, so let's see here. Let's go ahead and write an expression to represent the total cost of what Derek's family is ordering. So they're getting 2 of these large cups with no toppings. So let's say we have the price of a large cup here, and we have the price of these large toppings. So it's going to be $4.65. That's going to be for a large cup. Let's just say we don't know how many they're getting yet because we're writing an algebraic expression. So we're going to use the variable C because we're told in the problem that's what represents the number of large cups. Let's see, for no toppings, that is going to be no large toppings. That's going to be 0.35. This, the large toppings here, we're not getting any, but what represents the number of large toppings, that's going to be F. Okay, plus what are they getting for the small cups? Well, for the small cups, we know the price is $2.85. So we're going to write 2.85. And how many small cups are we getting? We're getting 2, but let's just say we don't know that yet. So for the variable for small cups, we're going to say that's the letter A. I'll go ahead and read that in the problem. And then 1 topping each. So we're going to get 2 of those, right? So let's just say we don't know that yet, but what's the cost of the small toppings? It's 25 cents. So it's going to be 0.25. And what's the cost of, or how many small toppings are we getting? We know it's 2, but let's pretend we don't know for a moment for the algebraic expression. It's going to be the letter D for the number of small toppings. And then finally, we're getting 1 medium and we're getting 3 toppings. So for the medium here, what's the price of that? It's going to be $3.75. $3.75. And what's the variable for medium? That's going to be B for the number of medium cups. And then plus we have one more, so it's going to be okay. We're going to go to the next line here. 3 of these medium toppings. So the medium toppings are 30 cents each, so 0.30. And what's the variable for the number of medium toppings? It's going to be E. Okay, so this expression right here would tell us how much the total cost of their ice cream would be, right? Now in part B, we're going to go ahead and actually evaluate this thing. So let's see, how much did Derek and his family spend here? For C, they're getting how many of these large cups? Well, we know, again, maybe it's helpful to write it down here, but we know the cost, the number of the large cups, C is going to be 2. Let's see, we know F is going to be 0 because we're buying none of these large toppings. For the small cups, we know A is going to be 2. What about the small toppings? We know D is going to be equal to 2. And then what about for the medium cup? That's going to be B. We're only buying 1 medium cup here. And then for the 3 medium toppings, that's E. So E is equal to 3. All right. So if we go ahead and substitute in here, let's go ahead and evaluate, right? So it's going to be 465 multiplied by C, which we know is 2, plus 0.35 multiplied by F, which you know is 0, plus 2.85 multiplied by A. Now A is 2, plus 25 cents, so 0.25. That's multiplied by 2. Plus what else here? We have $3.75 times only one of those. Plus for the last one, we have 3 of these medium toppings. So it's 30 cents, but we're buying 3 of these. Okay, so we have to go ahead and evaluate this entire thing, but you can go ahead and use a calculator for each part of these. So if you go ahead and just look at each part one by one, I'll go ahead and highlight them as we go so it's a little bit easier. So for this part right here, go ahead and throw that into a calculator. Let's see, 4.65, I'm going to do it in a calculator too, just to make sure it's correct, times 2 is going to be 9.3 or $9.30 plus this next part here, this is 35 cents times 0, so we're going to add 0 onto that. And then for this next part is 285 times 2, so it's going to take 2.85 times 2. That's going to be $5.70 plus this part I don't need a calculator for. It's 25 cents times 2, which is going to be 50 cents plus this one I also don't need a calculator for. It's 375 times 1, which is going to be 375. And then finally, I actually don't need a calculator for this one either. 30 cents times 3 is going to be 90 cents, right? So to find out how much Derek spends on ice cream with his family, we just have to go ahead and add up all of these numbers here. So we have $9.30 plus 0, or you can just leave that blank, plus $5.70 plus 50 cents plus $3.75 plus 90 cents. So in total, it looks like this is going to be 20.15. So in total, we know that Derek and his family spent $20.15 on ice cream. That would be our answer. All right, let's check out a different scenario here. So in this case, Zoe and their family ordered 2 medium cups with 3 toppings each, 1 small cup with 1 topping. Let's go with 3 large cups with no toppings. Let's go ahead and write an algebraic expression here. So this one has to have variables, okay? So let's see here. Let's do 2 medium cups first. So what's the price of a medium cup? The price of a medium cup is $3.75. So let's go ahead and put $3.75. And let's see, what's the variable for the medium cup again? I think it's going to be B. So it's $3.75 times B. Each of these are going to have 3 toppings each. So that's a total of, well, if we have 3 times 2, that's going to be 6 of those, but we'll deal with that in just a little bit. What's the price of a medium topping though? A medium topping is going to be 30 cents. And then, so let's see, it's going to take 0.30. Okay, and then we'll deal with the number of these in just a moment. But for the medium toppings, what's the variable for the medium toppings? It looks like it's going to be E. So let's go ahead and put an E here. Let's see, then we're doing 1 small cup with 1 topping. So what's a small cup and what's a small topping. Small cup is 285 and a small cup is A. So 285A, 2.85A plus one small topping. So what's a small topping cost here? That's going to be 25 cents. And a small topping is going to be the letter D. So 25 cents times D. Times D. And then we also are going to have, 3 large cups with no topping. So let's see, the large cups, 3 large cups. That's going to be $4.65 for each of those, right? So $4.65 for each of the large cups. Large cups is going to be C. Plus, and it's going to be no toppings. I'm going to write this anyway for the large toppings. It's going to be 35 cents and it's going to be F. So I know it's going to be 0 in a little bit, but it's going to be, what was it? It's 35 cents multiplied by F. All right, now in the next part, on part D, we're going to be evaluating this thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and write down these values now. So B is the number of medium cups, so we know it's 2. E is the number of medium toppings. Now, keep in mind that we're getting 2 medium cups. Each of them have 3 toppings, so that's a total of 6. So actually this E, be careful, E is actually equal to 6 here, right? For the small cup, we're only buying 1 of them, so A, that's equal to 1. For 1 small topping, D represents a small toppings, that's also going to be 1. And then 3 large cups, well, that's going to be the variable C. C is going to be equal to 3. And then F is the number of large toppings, and we know that's 0. So we're going to be using these values in just a moment. We're going to substitute each of these in for these variables and then evaluating. All right, so let's go ahead and see here. It says evaluate the expression you wrote to find how much Zoe and their family spent on ice cream. So let's go ahead and write that down. We are going to have here $3.75 multiplied by 2 plus 30 cents multiplied by 6. Plus we have $2.85 multiplied by A, which we know is going to be 1, only buying 1 of those. Plus 25 cents multiplied by D. Now we know D here is going to be 1. Plus, let's see, we have $4.65. We're going to multiply that by C, which is going to be 3. Plus, let's see, we have 35 cents. We're going to multiply that by F, and we're not buying any of those, so it's going to be 0 here. Okay, so let's go ahead and evaluate this thing. I'll do one part at a time here, so feel free to use a calculator for this as well to do each part. So it's 375 times 2. That's going to be $7.50 plus 30 cents times 6. I know that's going to be $1.80, so feel free to use a calculator if you need to. Plus, we have this 285 times 1, so it's going to be $2.85 plus we have 25 cents times 1, which is just going to be 0.25. Plus we have this 465 times 3. I'll use a calculator for that. 465 times 3. So that's going to be $13.95. And then I think that's it, because if you multiply here, you're just going to get 0. So I'll write it just so it's very clear, but that's what that means here. So the rest of this, let's just go ahead and plug into a calculator. So 7.5 plus 1.8 plus 2.85 plus 0.25 plus 13.95 plus 0, I guess. So the total here is going to be $26.35. So the total cost for Zoe and their family here is going to be $26.35. That would be the total. All right, here is one final scenario for part E. We see Farah and their family order 1 small cup with 2 toppings, 1 small cup with 3 toppings, and then 4 medium cups with 2 toppings each here. So let's go ahead and write an algebraic expression. So let's see, 1 small cup with 2 toppings and 1 small cup with 3 toppings. Let's see, for the small cups, that is going to be the variable of A, right? So let's see, the small cup price is going to be $2.85. We've used that a few times here. So let's go ahead and say it's going to be $2.85 multiplied by A. Now let's go ahead and just leave that alone for now. Plus, let's see, for the small toppings, let's see, small toppings. The price here for the small toppings is going to be 25 cents. So what's the variable we're going to use? Well, it's 25 cents for each of the small toppings. I think we said for small toppings that was going to be the letter D, but feel free to look up for that as well. And then we also have 4 medium cups with 2 toppings each. So 4 medium cups, so it's going to be $3.75 each. So let's go ahead and write plus $3.75 for each of those medium cups. Let's say we don't know the medium cups yet. That's going to be B, so for the number of it, plus, let's see, the medium toppings. Be careful with this one later on, but the medium toppings are 30 cents each. So let's go ahead and write plus 30 cents. And the medium topping variable we said was going to be E. Okay, now we're going to make sure we be really careful about the values for each of these though, right? So let's see, for the 1 small cup with 2 toppings here, and then we have the 1 small cup with 3 toppings. So for A represents the number of small cups. How many are we getting? There's going to be 2 of them, right? And then what about like the small toppings? Well, one of them has 2 and one of them has 3. So I think that means that D, the number of small toppings, is going to be a total of 5. Okay, and then let's see, for B is going to be the medium cup. So I think B is going to be 4. That one's pretty clear. But the last one we want to be careful with for E is the number of medium toppings. So all 4 of these medium cups are getting 2 toppings each. So 4 times 2 means that E in this case is going to be 8. So let's go ahead and with part F, which is going to be evaluating and figuring out how much Farah and her family are spending on the ice cream here. So let's see, it's going to be $2.85, and we're going to multiply that by A, which we know is going to be 2 in this case. Plus we have 25 cents multiplied by D, which is going to be 5 here. Plus we have $3.75 that's multiplied by 4. And then we have finally this 30 cents multiplied by 8. Okay, so let's go ahead and start evaluating this. So we're solving. So 285 multiplied by 2, that's going to be $5.70. That's specifically for that first part. Plus, if you have 25 cents times 5, feel free to use a calculator, but I think that's going to be $1.25 plus, and then we have 375. We're buying 4 of those, so 375 multiplied by 4. That is going to be a total of $15 for those. And then plus, finally, we have this 30 cents times 8. So I know 3 times 8 is 24, so that's going to be $2.40. So let's go ahead and add all these up. So we have $5.70 plus $1.25 plus this $15 plus the $2.40. So I think we have a total here of $24.35. So for the total here, Farah and the family are going to spend a total of $24.35. That'll be our answer. All right, so there you have a few different examples of practicing writing some algebraic expressions where we also have to represent things that we don't know or things that could change. And then we went ahead and evaluated them based on the values that we knew that represented those variables. So we substituted and evaluated. So hope you found the video helpful. If you did, please consider giving the video a thumbs up and sharing with a classmate or friend who might also find it helpful. And as always, keep up the great work that you're already doing.